Drums for Solar is a global exchange of indigenous culture, craft, spirituality for sustainable technology. We put solar in villages for pumping water, medical refrigeration, and pretty much lights at schools. And from there, we're putting in sustainable gardens that the community would be able to use year-round. Our interest right now is to have an event December 2nd at the Arlene Francis Center for Spirit, Art, and Politics. It would be, I guess it would be a Drums for Solar project. But my interest is to introduce these two to the community. They're new to the community as musicians, as instrument makers, and as the new international people on the block, and bringing a new positive spirit to the community. It started actually in this building, at Arlene Francis Center. The building used to be called New College back in the 90s. And I met a woman who was going to school here. Her name was Kumba Torre. And Kumba Torre said to me, I said, "What's Africa like?" And she was from Senegal and Mali. And she said, "You know, Bruce, you must go and see for yourself." So 3 months later, I went and I got on a plane. And I went to Africa. Spent 6 months in Africa and got the greatest education of my life.
We met Bruce upon our return from Ghana, West Africa, just a few weeks ago. Moved into the neighborhood and saw this great center, and actually saw an event as we were walking by that was being on the billboard. They were writing Africali, and we thought, well, gosh, that's perfect. We had just returned, as I said, from Ghana, and my husband is from Ghana, and I am a native Californian. And when we came in, we found that there was this great man in this great center, and a real heartfelt desire to help the people in Africa in an approach that we just support, that's more empowering and less about handouts in a way that makes people feel disempowered, but more about collaborating with people and giving them the opportunity to use their own skill set and assisting in a way that feels more sustainable. So we were really excited about that.
Yeah, I think Sia said it all. It's just basically that is what what happened, how we met Bruce, and it was really inspiring because it was like, okay, what we are thinking. We were even talking about it, about empowering people when we're coming from home, or when my wife and I was passing by. We're talking about, okay, well, it looks as if everybody in the village in Africa is kind of throwing away all the indigenous culture that we have and kind of kind of trying to buy something that is not really about our culture, but they want to change the whole system. And so when we came in and met Bruce that day, and he was talking about the same thing that we are talking about, we found it really very inspiring. And and we think that it's something that we can get together to see how we work it out.
I think it's important to note too that Bruce was talking about helping people in rural villages, and my husband is actually from a very rural village in the northern region of Ghana. We were married there, and we've spent time there with our family, and so it was quite interesting because the very people that Bruce was looking to empower through his own relationships with people in rural villages were very similar in many ways to our own family, and it was just interesting to see that we were really talking about the same thing. And the same kinds of communities, and we thought, wow, this is amazing.
The metaphor of Drums for Solar, the concept of Drums for Solar is, people say, "Oh, do you sell drums?" No, I don't sell drums. And the concept of the drum, the djembe, is that it seems like when man or humans stood up from the earth, we kind of got detached from the planet. So now we use this piece of wood, and you have to stretch an animal skin over it. And that's the instrument we use to bring a beat. And that beat is like the heartbeat of the planet and the heartbeat of the universe. And the drum is a tool that brings people together in one common rhythm, which is a thing that seems like humans are getting detached from, their common rhythm. So Drums for Soul is about sharing our humanity with each other. So that's kind of the spiritual end of the instruments, which I think is an important tool. And I think today, no offense, now musical instruments are a modem for people to make money. I've been offered money from corporations where they will give me solar panels. I was offered money to take on the whole project, but the money was coming without the spirit of the giving between the money and the people that it's going to. So the concept of drums for solar, there has to be some sort of exchange. So when somebody gives you a stack of money and you get solar panels and you put them in a village, there's no exchange. So the importance is, well, at least the elders in the village told me, you know, when people give us stuff and we have nothing to give in return, it's like stealing from our spirit. So just to get a stack of money from an NGO, from a corporation, and you go in a village and you put a new well in and you put solar panels in and you build them a school, you're stealing from the spirit of the people. So the concept, and a lot of time those projects fail, a lot of times. And I've spent years researching this. I've been working with this for like 16, 17 years, and I spent more time watching why things fail and why people become disempowered. And I think the reason they become disempowered is because people are feeding them, dumping things on them, and they're not doing an exchange. So I think what we're interested in is exchanging the only power that these people have, which, forgive me for saying, which maybe some Americans might be lacking, is the relationship between our humanity and the planet Earth. Most people who live in indigenous villages live in relationship with the Earth. Sometimes the Earth is brutal to them, but they're in a relationship. We live in skyscrapers and we bomb places and we drive fast cars and we live in our heads, but we're kind of leaving our spirit behind. And so my personal interest is not so much to get the stack of money to help these people in the village. It's to exchange their culture and their spirituality with us less fortunate people in America. And in exchange for that, help them put sustainable development in the village.
I think we should look at empowering the people in the village by motivating them that, look, what is around you is more of like putting the knowledge that you have and making it more beneficial than going out to the city. Because I have also left the village and went to the city when I finished senior high school. And what I found out in the city is that there are a lot of people that are stuck there and they can't go back to the village. Why? Because they felt that they have failed in going to the city to find money, to get more money and go back to the village. And now because they couldn't implement whatever plan they have to get the money in the city, they are feeling like shy to go back to the village because they don't have much money that they were expecting. And so now they are in the city and they can't go back to the village, and they can also make a lot of money to help themselves in the city. And so they found themselves kind of like, okay, well, I don't know what to do. A typical example is a close relative that I know who has left home like 4 to 8 years now, and he's in the city, and we need him in the house. We need him in the village, but he's found it difficult to go back because he didn't contribute much to the village, or he has not done anything in the village because I don't know why or whatever reason, but he's now finding it difficult to go back to the village. And the whole village or the whole family in the village, we all need him right now because we felt that, well, it is not what you bring home, but you yourself is the person, or you yourself is what we are after, because we don't need anything from you. All we need is you yourself. Come, let's all live together as, you know, as family members.